Welcome to Satsunami. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Satsunami. My name's Satsunami and joining me for a very special streamer spotlight is none other than the one and only VTuber herself, NovaBrush. Nova, welcome to Satsunami.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here.
And can I just say thank you so much for braving the time zones to come on tonight. I say tonight, but for you it's your morning.
Yeah, it is. Like right now it's like 9 a.m. and I pretty much just woke up about an hour ago.
And would you believe you're the second person to be tuning in from Australia on Satsunami?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, you know that old meme, if I had a nickel for every person from Australia who came on, I'd have two, which isn't a lot, but yeah. But it's strange it's happened twice, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Two is better than one.
Exactly. But yeah, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, going good. Just starting the day and might do a bit of drawing later because I haven't really been drawing for like the last few months. So I want to get back onto that again and catch up with friends and just really chill, really.
No, that sounds awesome. Because yeah, you of course are very multi-talented, as right in saying.
Oh gosh.
I mean, you're an artist and you are also a VTuber as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel as if when the 2020s hit, like I honestly had no idea about VTubers, but see after 2020, that was it. My eyes were opened.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I started about 2 years ago and I remember seeing them floating around on YouTube, just a random video here and there. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And because I also like to animate and draw, it caught my interest. I'm like, hey, I kind of like the idea of a model. How do I do that? And I just kind of went down this pit hole of VTuber stuff and watching all these videos. And I thought I'd try it because I wasn't really much of a YouTuber where I create content and then edit the videos and the whole process. Because while I'd enjoyed that, it's a lot of work and I don't have a lot of time on my hands. So I thought I'd try streaming. And it's funny because I started off, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know what to say. And I felt really worried about everything because I didn't know what to expect. And I thought I'd try it to get better at public speaking as well. So I thought I'd try that. And I also got to try express myself as a model where I started off with a 3D model that was free and it just took the base, made some edits to the hair and photoshopped the dress and then kind of went from there. And then I taught myself how to do the 2D version. So yeah.
I mean, I have to say your model is really impressive for your VTubing because...
Oh gosh, thank you.
And apologies for all the compliments here. Don't worry, Don't worry, I know your PayPal payments just processed, so, I think I've got one or two more I'm going to say. Right, okay, no, that's fine, yeah, just one or two more, yeah. But yeah, out of curiosity, you said you started 2 years ago, and this is a question I always ask every creator that comes on because something that I've said very often is that when I started streaming in 2020 and then moreover I started the podcast in 2020 as well, that was born relatively out of the fact that everyone was, trapped in their homes due to the lockdowns and everything and the big global panini, as they say. But in all seriousness, was yourself starting streaming, was that because of the lockdowns or was it something you were always interested in?
Well, I think it's just the timing is coincidental because I've always been indoors anyway, so the lockdown didn't change my lifestyle too much. So that was okay with me. It was just more like, the usual stuff where you can't see people at certain times and how many and going to the shops and all those everyday things that we usually like to do or even take for granted. But for me, with streaming, it just started because I wanted to. I also saw another Australian VTuber and I thought she was really funny. And I liked how Twitch was able to do things where you have all these emotes from all these different channels. If you sub to them, rating each other's channels, it just felt very interactive and I like that interactivity, so I just gave it a shot.
And how have you found VTubing recently? See, when you jumped into it, I know you said about how you did it to improve your public speaking and things, but do you feel as if being behind the avatar has made it better for yourself rather than something like, for example, just doing no face streaming?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess it's really up to everyone's personal taste, really, because I think in the end of the day, you're still a streamer, you're still a content creator. But for me, I like the idea of it because I don't have to put on all this makeup, do my hair, and do all the extra stuff before getting on camera, and then getting all the equipment for the camera and the lighting and all this extra stuff. Whereas a VTuber maker goes, yep, I could just sit in my pajamas and no one will know. And yeah, it's just nice to be able to just do that. And I was able to express myself more because, you know, I'm obviously not a Hydra girl. Sorry to break the immersion.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know. I don't have extra heads coming out everywhere and it would be helpful multitasking, but, you know, I just thought it'd be really fun. And yeah, I think I could express myself more as a VTuber.
Out of curiosity, what was the inspiration behind the Hydra? Because I remember you doing your announcement tweet ages ago for it.
Yeah.
And I know you've did your revamp and your redesigns and things for it, and it does look absolutely fantastic. But
oh, thank you.
Why a Hydra? And I feel bad for asking. I don't mean it bad. But
Oh, no, that's fine. Because I really liked when I made my Dragon Knight VTuber, she was just like an anime girl with some dragon features, like the dragon wing necklace and stuff like that. And I wanted to find ways to improve the model. And I also wanted to like the idea of challenging myself to do like a face that had a long nose, like a snout sort of thing. And I also didn't want to be just a talking anthro character. So I thought I'd try and combine the anime girl with the dragon heads. And while I was looking up for ideas and stuff like that, I remembered one of my friends liked to play the darkness. And so, you know, Jackie with the two shadowy eel kind of heads. And I thought, yo, what if that, but Hydra? And that's kind of what started it. And then I watched Godzilla, King of Monsters, and King Ghidorah just kind of made my brain explode. So I thought, okay, that's going to happen now.
You know, would you believe that that is one of the few Godzilla films I've actually sat down and watched?
Oh, fair enough. There's no shame in that at all because while there's so many over the decades, that's the great thing because anyone could just pick up anyone and then be like, hey, I like this or I don't like this, and kind of brings people together, I feel. Yeah, no, that's fair at all.
Well, funny enough, it was actually one of my friends. Shout out to Martin McAllister, you know who you are. He is a massive Godzilla fan as well, and he was going through them and he kept saying, you know what we should do? We should review a Godzilla film. So I'm thinking, all right, what is it going to be, like the 90s Matthew Broderick one? Is it going to be the very first one? And he's like, no. I've got one about time travelers and robots. And I was like, okay, I'm listening, getting the popcorn out.
Oh, that's amazing.
Would you also believe that that was our very first commentary track as well that we did?
Oh.
I'm not going to say it's our magnum opus, but it is our magnum opus.
That's awesome, though. That is so awesome.
In fact, I'm sure it was you, it probably was you actually, when I was scrolling through Twitter, you must have posted like a gif of King Ghidorah, and I was like, is that King Ghidorah?
Yes. I've done that a couple of times, or it could have been your friend as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great.
A lot of column A, a lot of column B, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
No, it is such a unique design because I have to say, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an aficionado on VTubers who are like Hydras or things like that, because something you mentioned earlier, and you're completely right in this, I did find that interesting, is that when people start out VTubing, and there's nothing wrong with this because I've done it as well, is the fact that they usually go for the standard anime character models through programs like Vroid and even the PNGs. I have to admit, I've just gone straight down the PNG route and decided to portray myself as a red panda. It's been a really rough 4 years, that's all I'm saying.
That's still valid though.
But before that, I was like, you know what? I feel silly using a red panda avatar. I might as well use a anime person. That somehow makes it better. But, you know, people will take me seriously. As I'm playing Fall Guys yelling at jelly beans. Yeah, but it is quite interesting. Do you feel that is quite a common thing within the VTuber community, that they always feel as if they have to go for the safer option, as it were, like the anime characters? Or
that's a good question. I always thought that a lot of VTuber models have like that anime influence in their design because VTubing originated in Japan, and people who love anime, manga, and maybe the culture as well, either they they heard of it, got wind of it, of someone streaming as a virtual model, and then it just kind of skyrocketed from there in a way. But that could be an influence maybe, or maybe I'm not really sure, really. I can't really speak for everybody. I know I gave mine an anime influence because kind of like that, really, because it did originate in Japan. I thought it'd be like a nice homage, and I like Japanese food and anime, manga, all of that stuff too. So I thought, why not? And it kind of works with my style in a way too. So it makes it a bit easier for me to draw.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, it is an iconic style, that being the anime style, of course, and especially when you're scrolling through different models and things like that for VTubers and you see like the same stream, you're always looking for, and again, it's not just for VTubers, I suppose it's like for the wider Twitch community, I suppose, as it were, that you're looking for like that one thing to catch your eye. And of course, with yours, it's, well, I say catch your eye, you catch the eye with 3 heads.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, wait, what? It's like, oh, okay. Do you feel as if after you got your Hydra head, and I mean for your character, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yeah, sure. Wink, wink, of course. Do you feel as if that's helped with the visibility of your channel on Twitch?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't really pay much attention to how I get traction on my thing. I just be myself and post and see what happens. That could be a possibility, maybe, because I have had a few people who've rated me, and I like to go back in the end of their videos just because I'm curious what they say. Sometimes they say, oh, this person looks pretty cool. They have dragon heads. Let's go raid her and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's possible. Some people say they like to stay for my streams because of the stuff I talk about or play. It's a bit of a mixed bag, I'd say.
Just to give context to the listeners at home, because I know you do quite a few art streams as well, because I have to say I have popped into some of them lurking, but then there's sometimes where it's like I'll see the notification pop up and I'll be like, yeah, I'll check it out. And then, of course, because of the time difference, I'm fast asleep, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, damn, I've missed so many streams.
Oh, it happens all the time. Like, it's funny because like most of my friends I follow, they're mostly in America. So it's like during the day for me or some ungodly hour when they stream. So that's why I lurk a lot, because I tend to be like, sometimes I might be working or I might be in the middle of something. I would just tune in, say hello, and then just lurk for a while. So I understand the time zone thing completely.
Oh, absolutely. So what kind of things do you stream? Because is it right to say you're more of a variety streamer?
Yeah, I think so. Because when I stream, I just want to I feel like socializing and playing a game or drawing. I've noticed that most of the time I prefer playing games, because when I draw, I tend to go quiet and I get a bit conscious about that. I'm thinking, well, I'll draw for a bit and I try to talk, but like multitasking, drawing and talking doesn't always go hand in hand with me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I tend to stream more games lately, and it's usually something that has captured my focus. Right now it's Baldur's Gate, so I've been there for a while. But I also like streamed other games as well, usually like RPGs, narrative driven content as well, I guess.
Yeah, because it is quite, I wouldn't say difficult, but it is a question that I think a lot of streamers ask themselves when they go on and they think, okay, what game can I play? And most of the time, I think a lot of people try to choose something that they enjoy. But then on the flip side, it might be a game that they're not necessarily going to be very conversational in. You know, it's like they might have to concentrate. See those people out there who can multitask playing games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and things.
Oh, talented people.
Whole different level. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely agree. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
At least I would be in between battles, or I might get really hype and start swearing, stuff like that. But keeping track of chat, especially the ones who have like a really active chat, I don't know how they do it. Half the time I wonder if they have an assistant on hand that helps them keep track of stuff as well, because it's crazy. Or maybe they're just really talented. It's probably a bit of everything. I don't know.
I mean, it's between that and, for me, horror games. And I've played maybe a couple of them on stream, but good lord. See, multitasking in a horror game. Have you ever played many on stream?
Oh, it's funny because I'm such a scaredy cat with horror games and movies. Like, I can't do it a lot of the time. At least the ghosty ones. Other stuff, I don't mind, thriller or like monsters or jump scary ones or whatever. The only horror games I've done on stream so far are those pixel JRPG horror games. Pretty much just like when you're running around as like a little pixel character, you're solving puzzles, and then jump scare, it's like a scary little pixel thing, but it's not too scary. And then chat's like, hey Nova, you should play things like, they wanted me to play scarier horror games, and I'm like, maybe. And then I started like hey, you know how you do like those goals sort of thing on Twitch, or you put in towards channel points or whatever, and it says, hey, if you reach this, I could play a horror game if you like. And then they reached it. I'm like, okay. I guess I have to do that. So now I have to try and find something scary. I worry about it sometimes because I scream. It's just not.
Yeah, same. I'm not even going to pretend and be like, no, horror games don't faze me. No.
Yeah.
I am a massive scaredy cat. When I was still streaming, I remember playing Outlast for the full 3 and a bit hours. Yeah, my soul left my body about maybe 3 times, I want to say.
Yeah.
There's a compilation video on YouTube that documents it very well. It's just in case the neighbours one day knock the door and go, you know that day back in 2020 when you were yelling a lot? What was that all about? And I'm like, here's the link. Just watch it. Here you go. Free publicity. Just go watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's definitely jump scares always get me, I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Every time. I remember going to see, and I don't know if you've seen this film, The Woman in Black.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
So it's I can't remember when that came out, but I saw it in the cinema, and it was marketed as one of the scariest movies of all time. And
oh, God.
I mean, so they say. They also said that about the film Smile, and yeah, the less said about that film, the better. It wasn't very good. But I remember going to it, and they were like, oh, there's a big jump scare here, and there's a big jump scare there. Sounds like the worst version of Old MacDonald there. But there was like a scene where someone turned on a tap, and this woman in the back of the theatre just screamed her head off. And I was like, could you not?
Yeah, you don't need the 4D effect with like the audience like joining in.
See, in all honesty, do you know what makes a game even scarier? Is when you've got someone who's even more scared than you are.
Oh my God. It's funny because I find horror games easier and probably a bit more fun to play when it's multiplayer, like Lethal Company or Phasmophobia. Even though Ghost is like my did not do thing, I was okay to do it with a group of friends. And one of my other friends, when we first met, he was my boss at work in a retail place. And I used to be intimidated by him because, you know, he's the boss or whatever. But as soon as I became friends with him and got out of the work setting, he's such a teddy bear. And then he's more scared at horror games than I am. So like when I hear him scream, I scream, and then I start laughing because it's funny him being more scared than I am, because he's like this 6 foot tall guy with a long beard and long hair. He looks like a Viking kind of guy, and he and hearing go like high pitched and stuff, it's so funny, and it was great. And hearing his wife, who's like a lot braver than both of us combined, it just has a go at him. And she's the brave one. Oh, it's great.
Because I just had flashbacks there. See, when you mentioned Phasmophobia. Oh my God. Again, I've got this incriminating evidence. I mean, compilation video. Of me and my friend playing it when it was relatively new.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I played it, I was playing the tutorial, and I walked into the house for the first time, and you know when you walk into the house and there's the ominous music, and it was like something out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I was just like,
oh gosh.
No. I was like, no, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. So then my friend came on and it's like, oh yeah, let's play it. And we were both just absolutely terrified, just yelling the entire time. I was like, yeah, this isn't, well, it's fun, but also it's terrifying, because there was a bit where the lights went out, I was trapped in the house, and I was hugging the wall because I couldn't get out. So my friend was trying to coax me out to be like, no, go this way, no, that way. Looking through the window, being like, oh, I can see you, go.
Oh my gosh.
Honest to goodness. And again, I don't have the beard right enough, but I'm an over 6 foot guy who's, I don't know, I don't think I give off the impression that I'm very brave, like in public, but on the computer, I'm just like, no, absolutely. Ghosts, nah, forget it. I mean, sometimes I have to admit, I even jump when I'm recording or streaming, and then all of a sudden you hear this bang in the background, and it'll be my dog banging the door or something.
No.
I'll tell you something. I was working in one of the rooms upstairs in my house, and all of a sudden I heard voices from downstairs.
Oh, no.
And I just want to make this clear. I kind of work alone. It was one of the days where it was just me in the house and me and the dog, and I heard these voices, like, a very hushed whisper. And I was like, who the hell's that? So, I bravely scooted down the stairs. I'm like, oh God, who is it? Who is it? Turns out my dog had caught the remote control and had accidentally turned on the TV. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Honestly, my soul left my body at that point. I was just like, I don't know what was scarier, that or the fact she turned on the news.
Fair.
Horror games are definitely, they're an acquired taste, aren't they?
Absolutely. If I had to do anything scary, I have to be like prepared in the zone for it. Sometimes I'll be like really curious, or I could try something scary, but most of the time it's not.
No, I have to build myself up. I'm like, come on, you can do this.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get on, you're like, no, I can't do this. No, computer's broken. Sorry, chat. No.
Yep.
Ghost in the machine.
Oh, would you look at that?
But yeah, is there any favourite game, though, that you would say that you love coming back to in particular?
The two games right now, because I tend to change my favourites every however many months or years sort of thing. The ones that I tend to go back to right now are Baldur's Gate, Valheim, and Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, Banjo-Kazooie is so good.
Oh, yeah. I grew up with that game, and that's just something that always fills me with nostalgia, and it's always one of those feel-good games where everything's so wacky and fun and solving puzzles, and it's just great. It's a classic for me. And right now, Baldur's Gate, I beat it twice, and now I'm trying the hardest difficulty to try and get gold dice. That's not going too well. I think I'm on my 5th attempt now. And in Valheim, it's just so nice to just go exploring. The music's so serene most of the time, and just crafting houses and other things you need, especially with friends, because I'm on like a community server with some of my friends. And it's just really nice that we built like a little village where we each have our own house. And whenever we want to go fight a boss or explore somewhere, we all take turns and give each other roles. And I like to be the cook for the village. So like I do all the cooking and the farming stuff, because the repetitive task of doing that is really relaxing for me for some reason, because I know in real life I wouldn't like to be farming every day. But I think it's just something different when it's just in a game setting, I guess. And yeah, those are the 3 I tend to go back to.
Just going off what you said there, it reminds me of, have you seen The Simpsons? Yeah. There's an episode of that always reminds me of when I think of video games like that, where, you do chores and kind of menial tasks, but you get some enjoyment out of it, seeing everything flourish. But when you look at your own garden or house or things, and you're just like, yeah, no, I'll do it tomorrow. And it reminds me of that scene out The Simpsons where Marge is trying to get Bart and Lisa to do the garden, and they won't do it, but then they go to, I think it's a carnival or something, and they want to try...
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they want to try the yard work simulator. And it's just like, but when you were at home...
Exactly. I had the same thought when I was playing Unpacking.
Oh, that's such a good game.
And I'm like, I have my own rooms to clean up right now, but I don't want to do that. This is more fun. So I just do that. And I'm a lot more tidier in that game because it makes you. Whereas in real life, I'm more like organized chaos is probably the best way to put it. Stuff is everywhere, but I know exactly where they are. And then when I start putting them on shelves and stuff like that, I don't know where they are. So.
I know, it's like T-Rex vision. It's like, where did it go?
Yeah.
No, I know exactly what you mean there. I mean, I have to say, for Unpacking, one of the things that I wasn't a big fan of in the game was when it was like you put something in a particular place and the game was acting like a very angry parent, or not angry, but disappointed parent, when it's like, that's not where it goes. And it's like, I want it there. I want to put it in that cupboard. And it's like,
exactly. We want to be creative. At least we're organizing and putting it away and not leaving it on the floor. Or maybe I want to put it on the floor. That's where I know where I'll find a random stapler.
Why do you have everything under the bed? And it's like, this is my vision, okay?
It's a piece of art. You don't understand.
Look, you didn't question Picasso, okay? Don't question me.
Exactly.
These indie games, honest to goodness. Oh no, it is such a good game, because I have to say, I went down an absolute indie game rabbit hole. I think a couple of months ago, I was playing games like Edith Finch. We did an episode as well on Papers, Please, Return to Obra Dinn, those kind of games.
Oh, nice. I have those two on my wish list, actually. So it's like my to-play list.
Oh, they are so good. Well, sorry, I say so good. I feel like a monster saying that Papers, Please is so good. You know, I'm sitting here going, oh, it's a great experience. You get to micromanage whether your family dies.
Oh my God.
It's such an immersive game, you know, that way where it's like it sucks you into the world and everything, despite it being pixelated graphics and things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they're just masterfully done. And again, my friend and I, we did an episode on it, and I think we just sounded very tired, as if we had been on a shift. In Arstotzka, the fictional place where it starts, and it's like just off the ticket barrier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like that game surprised me. I haven't played it yet, but I was surprised at like how well received it was in terms of how immersive, as you said, it was, because I thought, oh, you're sitting behind a counter and you're pressing approve, deny, approve. I was kind of judging it a bit too harshly, I think. And then I started watching some of my friends stream and I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. So and then I just added it to the list, and that'll be a to-play thing for me.
You're just like approved. Yep,
yeah,
go.
Yeah, I just stamped the approve button right there.
No, it is. It's one of those games that you get into a rhythm with it, and you just go on autopilot, and that is one of the scary things about it, because I know there's a commentary in there somewhere. But it's like initially you really fret about, oh, should I let this person in? Should I not? Should I waste the first citation? Because I think you get one warning per day.
Ooh.
Like you can let somebody in even though they're not supposed to go in, but then you stamp their passport and everything, and you have to kind of juggle that. You have to decide, oh, am I going to be a good guy, or am I going to provide for my family and everything? And it is just so, it gets to the point where you are just like, stamp, stamp, stamp. No, that's not right. Stamp, stamp, stamp. But no, it is. It's an absolutely fantastic game. And you're completely right, though, in terms of games that you look at initially and you think, I'm not going to have any emotions for this. And then by the end of it, you're just like, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like that with Undertale when it first came out, because I thought like, oh yeah, the music, and I kept all the music on the track list because, you know, it's amazing. Playlists on YouTube or whatever. And I started playing it, and I remember my first reaction seeing Flowey, and I'm just like, God, this is so cringe, because it was just like overly, hi, I'm so happy and welcome to this fantastical world kind of thing, you know? And then I started realizing the game is not everything's what it seems, and then I got so invested in it. I even started RPing it and drawing it and everything, and I was like, oh my God, I love this game so much. And it got me through a lot of difficult times around the time as well, you know, stay determined sort of thing. And it had a really nice message about friendship and try to be good and that kind of thing. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this game so much. It was nice that it started with simple mechanics and a pixel game without, you know, AAA graphics sort of thing. And it's so beloved as well, which is nice too.
I have to say the one for me was To the Moon.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, have you played it?
I've started playing it, and I could already feel the emotional investment in it.
I started it and I could not initially understand why so many people were saying, oh, it's the most emotional game you're ever going to play and this and that. And I was like, I mean, I've cried at other games before, you know, you're going to set a high bar here. Long story short, and 4 hours later, I was a sobbing heap on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
It's honestly got such a beautiful ending, and I mean, it was so good that I went out and bought the other 2 games in the series, Finding Paradise and Imposter Factory. Those were the 2.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were as good story-wise, but I still teared up because you always go into them unprepared, and it's like, you know that meme where it's the guy going up to the computer saying, right, that's it, I'm going to go on, I'm not going to cry.
Yep.
Yeah, you see those games and he's just a sobbing wreck. Yeah, that was me. I was just like, these are such beautiful games. And it's just so surprising, especially what you were saying with Undertale, which, again, it's on my backlog. I really need to play it. But yeah, it is. It's just amazing how games like that can really tug at your heartstrings and get you. I mean, especially compared to some, you know, that way, like, have you ever played a AAA game where it's got the swelling music and the very dramatic scene and you're like, haha, nice try.
Yep. I remember I was playing the Telltale game version of Borderlands, and they were trying so hard to ship the main character with this girl character. And I really didn't like her. And there's all these props where they go into this park with these magical plants that are glowing. It's like Avatar movie kind of esque sort of setting. And, you know, they're saying, oh, wow, this is so great. And there's props that are like, hold her hand, look into her eyes, and lean in for a kiss. And I'm like, nah, we're not doing any of those. We're not romancing anybody. We're going to be ace in this game. And and the game got so mad at me for not shipping them because they're like, no, you're supposed to ship them. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. I don't like her.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want her. She's got this really cringe attitude and I don't like her, and she's so like out there, and nah, we're not doing that. If we're going to ship, I want to have a choice. Nah, not her. And the game is like, you want to look into her eyes. I feel like by the point of me rejecting those choices over and over, I may as well put it in bold and caps lock because I do it. You know you have to. And then by the end of it, I found out I was in the 5 or 10% of people who didn't go with the romance option.
I mean, you should get a trophy for that.
I should. I agree.
I have to say, I actually played the Mass Effect trilogy for the first time a couple of months ago.
Good.
They are amazing. They have actually shot up to some of my absolute favourite games of all time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Marie from the Two Girls One Reusable Cup podcast and Dan from Casting Views, the two people and fellow podcasters that semi-bullied me into playing them.
Nice.
Because they were like, you know what, we should do an episode in it. And long story short, we're actually organising a month's worth of Mass Effect content soon. So
amazing. Is there a character that you particularly like so far?
Oh, there's so many, I have to say. There's far too many. Rex, absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love Morden, R.I.P. Mm-hmm. There's just so many, but it actually reminds me of what you were saying there about the game pushing you towards a particular character, because when I played through 2 and 3, I romanced Tali.
Oh, she's great.
Oh, she's such a good character, and I just loved the storyline that went along with that. And you know, you have Garrus as well. Garrus is amazing, and all the other characters are so good. But I remember playing the first one, and I think it was maybe the order that I actually played it in, because when I was playing it, I got Liara last, and I remember a couple of missions later, and all of a sudden she's like, Shepard, I think I love you. And I'm like, that's plenty. Pushing this blue face away from me, like, nope. Away with you, Braveheart, away. No, thank you. Again, it's like, I feel as if Mass Effect genuinely wants to push Liara as, you know, the main...
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I wasn't vibing with it. It just came across as just, you've been on my ship 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Simmer down, take a drink.
You're the protagonist. You got that plot armor. You got that natural 20 charisma going on there, you know? Yeah. I don't blame her at all.
But I mean, the awkward thing is, it was between her or I think it's Ashley is the other one, because you can't romance Tali or Garrus in the first game, which I think is terrible, mind you. But I was laughing at that because I was like, okay, I don't want to romance Liara because this is moving a bit too fast, you know. So I'm like, who else have I got? And I go, oh, I've got Ashley. Then I look at who I left behind in Vermeer, and I'm like, I sacrificed her back in Vermeer, so she's gone.
Oh no.
So all I've got is a needy Asari in the other room, and I'm like, no thank you. Even the game was like, Jesus Christ. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, my job.
Oh, that's so funny. And apparently, I think lore-wise, the Asari is supposed to be the most attractive race out of all the alien races that all the other races really want to be with, sort of thing. I haven't played it for a long time, but I do remember that vaguely. So it's like you're rejecting the lore. How dare you reject the lore?
And I will reject it forevermore. They are creepy. That's the thing, you're completely right. In Mass Effect, they always come across as, oh, look at us, look at how attractive we are, blah, blah, blah. And then you see what they do, you know, their eyes turn black and they're like, oh, come into my mind palace. And I'm like, no. No, thank you.
Oh my God, I don't blame you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, but this is the Citadel. Thank you, but no thank you. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's, you know, no. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I saw, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but the other Asari that you have to hunt down in the second game, and it's the daughter of Samara.
Oh, yes. And yeah, that was a really intense scene.
The fact that you can get mind boggled to death, I'm just going to say, for the PG audience, mind boggled. But I mean, obviously I didn't do that, but I saw the scene on YouTube and I was like, this is freaky as hell. People like the Asari.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, who am I going to choose? And I'm like, I'm going to choose the person with a face mask at least. I'm going to be safe here.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe COVID and the lockdowns broke me, but I'm like, okay, someone with a mask, I'm safe, okay?
Oh gosh. And I think Tally just has a really nice personality where it's kind of casual and sweet and you just want to learn more about her kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's great. Like I romance Garrus because, oh my gosh, Garrus and his voice. Oh my gosh, his voice. But like, I've always liked that tough exterior and then they're just a soft nerd deep down. And I love that. That's why I went down the Garrus route. If I didn't romance him, I probably would have gone with Tally. She's just really great.
Yeah, to be fair, Garrus is pretty damn good as a character. Like I feel as if in the first game he's very much I don't play by the rules, I'm a badass, and you're like, sit down, drink out your sippy cup, you'll be fine.
Yeah, like he's just written so well. Like he works really well as just your best friend or your partner kind of character. Yeah. And I think they did the same treatment of Tally as well. Yeah, I guess it depends on how much focus and how much depth they decide to give each character.
Because I have to say, the one that absolutely broke me when I was looking that up was apparently you can romance Thane from the second game.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to a friend and she was like, oh, I romanced Thane and I barely completed the third game because of what happens. And, I was like, what happens? And, he meets an unfortunate end for semi-spoilers, but he meets the unfortunate end. But what I didn't realise was, see if you romance him in the second game and the third game, and then you play the Citadel DLC, he comes up as a Force Ghost. And
oh, okay.
Yeah, like, do you not know about this?
I didn't know because, I was really chaotic when I played Mass Effect. I started with the Citadel DLC, and then I played 2 and then 3. And it was also in different consoles because I was like going from like PlayStation 3 to 4 at the time, something like that. I didn't have that connected lore, but I did know that there was a connectedness to it sort of thing. The Force Ghost, that's hilarious.
That's the only way I can describe it, because it's like at the end of the Citadel DLC, you have all your crew members beside you and you're looking out to the Normandy, and depending on who you romance, they come up beside you and, they say, oh, this was the best time and everything. And if you don't choose a partner, you'll just be talking to Joker and, say, oh, it was the best time. If you romance Thane, and of course you get to that point where he's no longer in the game and after you have his funeral, there's a scene where everyone vanishes and his ghost just appears behind you, and you get this thing of him saying things like, oh, I'll meet you across the sea, see ya.
Oh no.
I'm sitting here as a guy just like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
You're exactly. Like, I'm getting emotional right now, and like I wasn't that connected to Thane, but damn.
I know. God. Because that's the thing about Mass Effect, and see games like this where you spend hundreds of hours just absolutely invested in the world. By the time you get to the end, you don't want it to end. It got so bad that I ended up playing Andromeda after it. Yeah, I've got to say, not my favourite.
Unfortunately, I didn't even pick up the game because I played Mass Effect for the characters, and the cast for Andromeda didn't really capture my attention very much. And then I started the reviews coming in, and I was like, oh, I might give this a miss then.
Yeah, well, the only reason I played it is because it's free on the Game Pass, and even then I feel as if I paid too much.
Oh, fair enough.
Again, this is the thing I think that everybody says about it. They always say, oh, it's a great game, gameplay-wise, it's the best. And you're turning around to the person, you're going, tell me about the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the gameplay's great. No. Story, characters, come on. Oh, but the gameplay. No. It's always the gameplay. It's never. I have never heard someone say, do you know who's better than Shepard? Ryder. No one has said that. Honestly, see if there's a listener out there who is brave enough to admit it. Please reach out because I would love to interview you. I don't believe it, personally. I think people enjoy it, and that is perfectly valid, but...
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was just curious, do you have a preference for male or female shepherd?
Honestly, it's a tough one, because I did sit for a good while thinking, should I go for male? Should I go for female? You know, back and forth, because I know the game is completely, well, not completely different, but it does play differently compared to certain things, like the way you interact with people and the way other characters interact with you. And I'm going to be honest, when I saw Tally and I thought, okay, I want a romancer, but I can't romance her as female shepherd, so I had to go with a male route, and I really want to replay as female shepherd. But now I've got the dilemma, because I want to go back through the game and play it as a renegade.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because that was a good Paragon boy, I'm going to be honest.
No, I did the same too.
But now I've got the option, and I know there's a lot of Garrus fans probably listening to this going, what the hell do you mean? There's only Garrus. But, you know, do I go for Garrus, the safe option, or do I go for Thane, which is the more emotional option? You know, it's such a stupid thing to think of, because you're thinking, oh, you go for the plot, you go for this and that, you don't go for the romance sim.
I don't think it's stupid at all. Like, it's part of the experience, really. The characters you invest in along the journey, it's not just pew, pew, shoot, and move on to the next area. It's the journey you make with them. So that's a completely valid thing to wonder, because I was like that too with games like Mass Effect and Baldur's Gate as well, because I was thinking about what kind of experience am I looking for? Which characters interest me and how can I make that work, sort of thing. Yeah, no, that's completely valid. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Because I have to say, for games like that, it's really an investment, isn't it? One of my friends absolutely loves Persona 5.
Yeah.
I remember buying it ages ago and being like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to take a couple hours a night, I'm going to play it. Long story short, it's still sitting on my shelf.
Yeah, fair.
Honestly, not because I'm adverse to playing it or anything, but it's just like, I am terrible for, see, when the game gets really popular. I've got Baldur's Gate, someone kindly gifted it to me, and you know, absolutely a fantastic gift, but I've still to play it because I just haven't found the time to actually put it on.
No, that's fair.
Are you the same with games, or do you just immediately buy the game and then play it outright?
Depends on how I feel. Sometimes when I see a game that's been talked about a lot and I see a lot of gameplay about it, I tend to buy it right away before I actually think about it too much. Like Pal World was one of them. There was like a big hype about that and all, whether it was controversy or something funny. And I saw the gameplay. I'm like, well, I like the cute creatures. I really like crafting games and I like open world. I'm going to go for it. And then I streamed it with my first gameplay and it was great. Some games I do put on the waiting list for quite a while before I'm ready to buy them. But some games, I don't know, it just depends how I feel, and most of them go unfinished. So, yeah, I do understand the time investment thing, because it's just, I wish I could stream more. I've just recently got off hiatus. And before that, I could only stream like once a week. Or if I do stream during the week, it's like at nighttime. So I completely understand. It's just so many games. And, you know, the good thing is they're going to be there. So whenever you're ready.
Because I have to admit, the other one that is sitting in my backlog, giving me the angry eyes, is, see, the Yakuza games.
Oh, yeah, that's been on my shelf too. I get it.
In the words of the cool fans at home, it's a big dammy Dane moment.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've got that in my Spotify playlist. Have I played the game? Have I, heck? And again, it's not because I don't want to play it, because I played similar games and, you know, I've absolutely loved them. And again, it's just the time investment for them, because...
It is, yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of glad years and years ago I played Sleeping Dogs. Is that one you've played before?
No, I haven't played it yet.
Oh, that's one I'd definitely recommend. I mean, granted, it's a bit bloody, but at the same time, you know, it's like, I don't want to undersell it and be like, oh, it's like GTA in Hong Kong, but it's a fairly decent game. But again, you can play Sleeping Dogs, but why can't you invest the hours in Persona or Yakuza or whatever? I just don't have the time. Being an adult sucks. That's all I'm saying.
Well, no, I agree. And also, if you've got a really full-on schedule and you're tired at the end of the day, you just don't really want to think, you just want to enjoy. And it's what I tend to do with the games I play. I tend to hyper-focus on a game for a while, because it's just something that's not too much, I'm not investing too much energy into. And then like when something new comes around, I usually play that when I have a fresh day, like like on a weekend, for example. So I completely understand when you have limited time and if you have a new game that you could play, but then there's also a game you're more familiar with its style, or maybe it's just something that makes it nice and relaxing to play. It's all about the experience, really.
Out of curiosity, just thinking back to the sphere of content creation, do you ever play a game and, you play it and you think this is a fantastic game, and then you have that brief moment where your inner voice says, this would be great to stream?
All the time. Pretty much any content creator will be thinking that, and those who do it professionally for a career, it's like definitely dominant on your mind sort of thing. I like the idea of streaming it because I like sharing the experience with people, and sometimes it's fun to capture my reactions to some things, whether if it's like something emotional and unexpected happened, I just start crying, or if it's something that's really unexpected and funny, and then I remember when I was playing Lethal Company with some friends, it was one of the first times I played multiplayer. Well, I mean, it is a multiplayer game, but one of the first times I played the game, and I go into blind because I thought the game would be more scary and fun if I didn't know anything. So I didn't look up anything about the game except for how the controls work, and that was it. I didn't know anything else. And when I went in, it was a stormy map. It was like thunder and lightning, and I didn't know that you shouldn't pick up metal items because I was inside the base of the building. My friends were like being scary, making spooky sounds and trying to jump scare me, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm out. Bye. I leave the building, pick up the items and go towards the ship, and then the lightning struck me. I went flying into the air and I was like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? Oh, so yeah.
I know, it's always great learning from experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's just half the fun, really.
Probably going to date the episode by admitting this, but I have to say that's the exact same way I feel about Sea Helldivers too.
Yeah, I've been cautiously watching from afar sort of thing. I'm like, should I play? It looks like fun.
I have to say, I was the exact same. I was like, I don't know. And then a couple of friends bought it and they're like, come on. And now half of the people in the podcast group that I'm in, the Podpack Collective, they're like, oh yeah, it's such a great game and everything. Yeah. And you're like, okay, fine, I'll buy it. So I caved in, I bought it. I thought, right, okay, this is my supporting the indie developer of the month.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I'm not going to lie. It ran absolutely fantastically on my computer.
Awesome.
That's like a good couple of years old. If you're into that type of gameplay and things, it is just absolutely fantastic. But I'm glad I didn't stream it though, because the amount of times I died in such embarrassing ways, I may or may not have friendly fired on my friend by accident.
Oh my gosh.
Because there was this mission that we did and it was like, oh, you have to plant this particular bomb there and you have to set it off. And it turns out that while it's counting down, if you shoot it, it won't set it off. But do you know what does set it off? If you call in a supply drop right beside it. So all of your perks and things come in through airdrops and things and they just smash into the ground. And me not thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm thirsty for more ammo. And then,
oh no!
I mean, I got the ammo, but was it worth it? No. I was about 10 feet in the air.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's one of these games that has been going absolutely viral. A bit like when Power World came out, it was everywhere, but you see so many funny clips and the community for it just seems so amazing for it. Is that something you look for? See, when you're looking for a new game, especially multiplayer games, do you ever look at the community to get a kind of gauge at how you're going to enjoy the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Power was the first example I could think of as well. I don't usually rely on reviews whenever I play games or watch movies and stuff. I like to just give it a go sort of thing. But when it comes to games, especially if they're like a new released AAA game, a lot of money now. The inflation in games over the past 5-10 years has been crazy. So yeah, I don't know. Like I tend to look at the community, what they like, what they think of it. And if it's usually majority it's good, I like to give it a go. I don't usually do that very often with games I don't normally play. I used to play a lot of fighting games. I love Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive and games like that, but I haven't played that for a very long time. So if a new fighter game came out that's completely unfamiliar with, I'd be reluctant to buy it because I like to invest my money in something that I enjoy sort of thing. And I guess also if you're a content creator, it kind of shapes what kind of audience and yourself as a personality sort of thing, what games you like to play and what to expect in the experience of watching the streams. So I just usually go with what I like and then branch out here and there for something new.
No, you're completely right though, because, and again, as you said, it's most likely because of inflation and everything. everything, but AAA games nowadays are such an investment, both in time and monetary value as well. But it's the fact that you go to get a new game and you're like, is it going to be worth paying upwards of, like $60, $80, or some of the prices are ridiculous.
Over here, Dragon's Dogma is $100.
Right.
And if you get the deluxe edition, it's $120. And I'm just like, oh God, I don't know if I would play this game that much because I haven't played it before. Yeah, I definitely understand about the investment of games.
I have to admit, I'm probably the person who stands outside game shops like, is it Mike Myers from Halloween waiting for the sales, being like, have you got a sale yet? Same as Steam, like, have you got a sale yet? Have you got a sale? No? Okay, I'll come back later. You guys just do your thing.
Absolutely.
Don't mind me, I'm just watching in the corner. They're like, you okay? I know what you mean. I think you take it for granted. See, when you were younger and everything, and you were able to go to physical game stores, because I know, in fact, that's quite a thought, actually. See, for physical game stores, are they still as prevalent over there?
We still have them around. They usually tend to go to ones where they're not a lot of small ones. They're a lot of more iconic ones like EB Games, or you go to a bigger general store, JB Hi-Fi or Kmart, or not Kmart anymore, but bigger stores that sell games. But specialty games, you tend to go to the one type of store. I guess like in America, it'd be like GameSpot. So the Australian version of GameSpot, I'd say would be roughly EB Games sort of thing. But other than that, you get smaller ones like Game Traders, and not many people go to it by comparison, especially if, say, for example, people who aren't usually gamers, they're not going to know about that sort of thing. So like you kind of have to be, I guess, aware if you're in that community of gamers sort of thing, you know where to go. But yeah.
I mean, over here, and I'm just speaking from someone in Scotland, right enough, but the more prominent shops that we used to have was one called Game, and I think they went to like the Madonna school of naming things with just one name. They just thought, should we call it something else? No, just call it Game, because that used to be its own independent shop, and then all of a sudden, I think it got absorbed by whoever the guy was that runs a sports store here called, I think it's JD Sports or Sports Direct, one of the two. Basically, now those kind of shops are at the back of those shops. So it's like you have to wade through all of the joggy bottoms and trainers and things just to get to the gaming section. And even then, it's like mainly Funko Pops and trading cards and things. I mean, even we had another kind of multimedia store called HMV, and HMV's still around, but it used to have like a big section at the back for video games, but I genuinely can't remember the last time I saw a video game in HMV. I think they've genuinely started to either phase them out, or they're just not turning as much of a profit from having them there. And I was just quite curious to see just if it was the same over there, because I think people just buy it off of either Amazon or off the storefront, or just go completely digital, which is a whole other argument in itself, mind you. That is definitely one of the big things I think that's been popping up, that a lot of people are quite concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Like if the servers went down for whatever reason. Or I think a recent one was when, I can't remember which company it was, but I remember when you buy the game, you don't actually own it anymore or something, and you just own the right to play it or something. And it was only temporary. And if you don't have an account or subscription anymore, it's no longer yours or something or other. I could be wrong. I remember vaguely seeing something like that. And I'm just like, no. If you buy it, it's yours. It's a product. It shouldn't be a subscription service. I know there are some games like that and they're really fun, but I prefer just seeing games as a product rather than a subscription service.
Because, I mean, I think one of the recent ones was when Nintendo shut down I think it was the 3DS and Wii U store. I think that was last year, granted, but they were starting to wrap up and be like, okay, we're going to shut these down slowly and everything. And, at first you kind of think, right, okay, maybe it's their time. But then you look into it further and you think, oh my God, I've got all of these Pokemon or, all these things that are now trapped to my 3DS, and they're probably going to shut down the live services that they had to transfer them over. So it honestly feels quite weird that companies are doing it, and you can see why. But again, it's that idea that a lot of companies have, I suppose they get to decide what you're playing almost. almost, maybe I'm being a bit dramatic by saying that, apologies, but there was one I saw recently, and I think it was for Spec Ops The Line. That got delisted recently. Yeah, it was something to do with, I think it was the music they used in the game, and the license ran out, so they weren't allowed to sell it anymore. And that just absolutely shocks me, because I would say it's definitely a game worth playing, but nobody can play it now because, I mean, unless you get a physical copy or you've already bought it, but if you haven't, then kind of up the creek without a paddle, as it were.
That's a shame. And it makes me wonder, say, for example, when you said that you had a game that was trapped in your DS, so you don't no longer have it anymore on the store. Do you think there might be something in the future where, oh, I have a collector's item DS because no one else has this game or something? Very few people have this game by comparison.
Well, see, you say that, but we've already seen that happen with Silent Hill PT. Do you remember that? I think it was just a demo, wasn't it, for Silent Hill PT?
That's right. Yeah, that's when you're walking through the hallways, right?
That's the one,
Yeah. Yeah.
There were loads of people selling their PlayStation 4s. Because,
wow, okay.
Yeah, they were like selling them for ridiculous amounts of money because they had Silent Hill PT on it. I could be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure Sony, I don't know about other companies, but I'm pretty sure Sony's the only company that have worked out how to take your games off of your console.
Wow.
And again, you know, this might be like scaremongering in terms of gaming, but I think if you updated your PlayStation, then it removed the game from your library. And it's a scary thought to think that companies can just do that, you know, and say,
absolutely,
oh, you bought this game, or oh, you downloaded this game. Nah, you're all right. We are going to take it back, kind of thing. And it's definitely different from the days of getting like the N64 cartridges and things.
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that gaming companies just don't feel as if it's worth investing in nostalgic properties and like nostalgic games to bring them to modern hardware?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one, I think, that question. But I think with the attitude of seeing games as a product, once you buy it, it's yours and it should stay like that. So I guess I'm not really sure how to answer that question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's not worth it, but I also think it's a shame that we lose the opportunity to replay something we really like. But if we look at a comparison to like a physical copy, like, for example, some like the Pokemon games I've had on my Game Boy Color, one of the batteries on the little cartridge thing just died and I could no longer play it anymore. So I guess even physical copies would have their shelf life in a way. It's just a lot longer than it would be on a digital, I think.
It's not Pokemon Silver or Gold by any chance, is it?
It is Silver.
Because I've got a copy that did the exact same thing, yeah.
Oh, no! It's happening now. It's happening to everybody, and I'm like, oh, no!
It's like Logan's Run. It's just... after a certain point, it just goes off.
Oh, gosh.
What was worse was I remember completing the Pokedex in Silver.
Oh,
well, up to 150, right enough. There was one missing, but I couldn't get it. Yeah, one day I switched it on and it was like, new game. And I'm like, no. You know me. You know me, game. You know me. It's like, no, I don't know you. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, that was devastating.
Oh, I can only imagine.
No, I know what you mean. It's a shame, I suppose, to leave them in the past. But it is good when companies do bring it back, as it were. Like, for example, you were mentioning Banjo-Kazooie as well earlier. I'm assuming you mean the 360 one.
The one that, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Not nuts and bolts. No, sorry. I mean the rare replay for legal reasons.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm looking at the Red Panda lawyer in the corner and he's just shaking his head going, what are you saying? Yeah, oh God, I keep forgetting that game exists.
I pretend that it doesn't exist. I remember the day, actually. And this was...
Sorry, I just love how you call it the day.
Oh, because it was so... I have a terrible memory, like a memory of a goldfish, right? But I remember the day when Microsoft bought it from Rare and I was devastated because I said, I don't have an Xbox. I only have a Nintendo 64. And I was so upset because I had strict parents growing up and I could only have one console and I chose the 64. And I said, now I can't play Banjo-Kazooie 3 because you know how they tease 3 at the end of 2E? And I'm like, oh, no. And then I'm still waiting for 3E to come out.
The real one, yeah.
The real one.
Because I remember the announcement trailer and they made it out as if it was going to be this big platformer and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a shopping centre and I was walking along and I looked up. There was this huge banner right across and it was like, oh, can't wait for Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And I remember looking at the character models going, that is some of the ugliest models I've ever seen in my life. What did they do? You know The Godfather? Look how they massacred my boy.
Oh my god.
That is how I felt. I was like, this is, wow. I don't know what they were thinking with it. And I'm not going to say that I hated the game. See, for what it was a fun enough game. But as a Banjo-Kazooie game, absolutely not. I'm with you there.
Yeah. And it wasn't great that they just crapped on the fans at the start. And it's just like, oh, no one plays this game because it's so tedious collecting all these items. And it's like one note after the other in a straight line. And I'm just like, come on.
I mean, that they were practically fat shaming the audience. They're like, come on, Magic, collect all those jiggies. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like, why do you do that to the fan base that supports you in this game? You know what I mean?
I am shocked and appalled. Like,
yeah.
Dear Mr. Rareware.
What did you think of Yooka-Laylee? Did you get to play it?
Do you know, I still haven't played it yet, but again, I bought it and it's on the backlog and I saw all the reviews for it. I'm actually really surprised that they'd managed to get another platformer in, especially in the same kind of vein as Banjo-Kazooie. But what I found really weird was that they made a sequel for it, I think, and it was like a not a side scroller, but it was like more 2D or 2.5, I think. You know, it's like 3D models, but it was more 2D Metroidvania kind of style. And I was like, that is a really weird, shift from big open spaces and platforming to this. But what about yourself? Did you play it when it came out?
I did play it because I was like, oh my god, it's all the original creators from Rare on playing, and I was just so hyped for it. Personally, I did enjoy playing all of it. I thought the first level was the best one, mostly because I felt it was the most fleshed out world sort of thing. It seemed more full of life than the rest of the game, I felt, but it made me feel like I wanted to play Banjo-Kazooie more after a while because I didn't really get that completionist feel to it for me. The characters are fun and collecting all the items were fun as well, but not as well integrated as it was in Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. But, it's still worth a play.
I have to admit, it is quite a shame, see, when you play a spiritual successor to a game and you kind of think, oh, I can't wait to play this, and then you're like, I just want to play the original game.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
This won't come as any shock or surprise to any listeners or long-term listeners out there, but I'm a massive Sonic fan, and I think because when I was younger, I played a lot of platformers, so like Mario, Sonic, Banjo-Kazooie especially, that was my main one that I played for hours and hours. But for Sonic, I loved games like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Those were the kind of the two that I would always go to. So whenever someone comes to me and says, oh, you should really play this Sonic game, it's like the next best thing, it's the best one in the series, and I play it and I relatively enjoy it, but all I can keep thinking at the back of my head is you're not the same. You're not the same as the other.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, even when you get other indie games, I think that is, at least in the last couple of years, I want to say, last kind of 5 to maybe 8 years, where a lot of indie games are taking inspiration from these popular games, and then they're trying to make their own IPs, like with Yooka-Laylee and in the sphere of Sonic. I remember there was a game called Spark the Electric Jester.
Oh, yeah, and they also had this other game that was with like a purple dragon girl, and she worked a lot like with Sonic characters, and she was meant to be for a Sonic fan game, but then somehow the developers went to make their own game with it, and she has her other friends like a green cat who jumps, and you can tell which characters are meant to be if they were in that universe, but because they made their own thing out of it, it was pretty cool to see. I forgot what it was called, but you probably would like that game too, actually.
I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, that is something amazing, I have to say, about a lot of these games, that they start out as fan games and then They just, as you said, they develop a life of their own, they develop their communities and things, and it's absolutely amazing to see. Out of curiosity, would you say that you're more of a fan of, and I know technically you've said you're playing through Baldur's Gate and that's not necessarily an indie title or anything, but would you say nowadays that you're more likely to lean into indie titles, or would you say you're still invested slowly in AAA games?
Well, I think in my library, I think most of the games I've been playing have been indie games because I tend to do a bit of a mix of indie and AAA. But I think a lot of the reason why I go towards indie most of the time is not just the cost, but they just seem to work outside the box in a way where you can't really predict everything or expect something to happen a certain way because of legal reasons or how a company wants to build a safe formula so they know that they won't lose a lot of money, sort of thing. For example, Pokemon, we know what to expect immediately when a new Pokemon game comes out, but because we like the formula so much, we still play it and look forward to it. But if you pick up a random indie game, you don't know what to expect, and sometimes it might surprise you with some things that you were pretty sure that wouldn't happen in a AAA game. So, yeah.
I have to say that is one of the beauties of the Game Pass, which, again, we're not sponsored by the Game Pass. This is me solely saying, yeah, it's actually all right. But there's been a lot of games that I've played through that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. There was Edith Finch, one of my friends recommended to me to play it, and I saw it on Game Pass. I don't think it's on there anymore, but when it was on there, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. Absolutely loved it. Coffee Talk as well. I have to say, I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed Coffee Talk. I think so much so that I bought it on sale.
Nice.
It's literally just a game where you play in a kind of sci-fi fantasy setting where there's hybrids of like fantasy creatures and things like that, but they're just coming in for a coffee and you get to learn about the life story, and it's such a chill game, but it's just so amazing the way it's like structured and everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
But without Game Pass, there's some games that either I would never have played, like Gone Home or Firewatch, I have to say. Was another one I really enjoyed. Creepy as hell at times, but I think there was another one I played called Last Stop. That was an interesting one. That was the one where you play 3 different stories and then it culminates to like a really bizarre ending. And not gonna lie, I feel as if the ending is where they kind of pooped the bed, but that's a whole other story. It is quite cool that without Game Pass that you might not get the opportunity, because I think that was the same with Pal World as well, that they got released onto Game Pass and they just shot right up. That they were constantly getting an influx and flow of players just coming in constantly. So
yeah, they really did. It's amazing.
And I mean, considering that they've still managed to maintain a healthy number, it's really impressive. Because I mean, usually with games like that, because another game I got into was that Cassette Beast. Have you ever played that?
No, I haven't.
That's another one I would recommend. It's like I don't want to say it's a Pokemon clone, it's more like a monster catcher game. It's done in like a really amazing 2D art style, like a kind of sprite art style with 3D elements mixed in. Honestly, would wholeheartedly recommend it. It's such a fun game. You're that way where you play a game to begin with, you're like, oh, I don't know. And then by the time you're at the end, you're like, yes, 10 out of 10. Let's get this game recommended.
Yeah, I definitely had that quite often, actually, with some games. Like Stray was one of them, actually. Because when I saw it, I'm like, oh, cute cat game. I'm more of a dog person, but like cute cat game. And I thought that'd be just fun to like, put on and play for a bit. And then I didn't realize how deep it got. And I'm like, damn. And I was really invested in the world. And I really loved exploring and find out what happened to the world, to the characters, and where to find things and stuff like that. And also still have the fun whimsy of being a cat. So I love that mix.
That is the best type of game, though. I have to say, when you play it and you don't know what to expect, and then you're like, damn, this game's got emotional hands. It just keeps throwing them. Some of the games that I've played and you just think, oh, this is a silly game, and then by the end of it you get really emotionally invested.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have to say the weirdest one I had for that was Deadly Premonition. I don't know if you've ever played that one.
I've seen it floating around, but I haven't actually played it myself.
Personally, I would struggle to recommend it. It's like it's held together with duct tape and prayers.
Oh god.
That's all I'll say. It's like a game that's considered really bad, but at the same time it's like so bad it's good. It's a bit like Twin Peaks the game, I think people describe it as. So
oh gosh,
take that as you will.
Yeah, fair. I'm kind of like that with some movies because I remember I watched the Dead or Alive movie years ago. And I went in, I'm like, it's going to be a silly movie. And I know that I think the only people that would really enjoy it, say it's a decent movie or a good movie, as stretchy as say good movie, but would be fans of the game. So when you go in, you're like, oh, there's that character. And it's so funny how close they get or how far they miss the mark. And then you know the movie's bad. Like the plot is just so predictable. It's very factory line kind of storyline, right? And then when you watch it, it's like, it's so good because you know the characters in the world. I definitely get that. That's probably like one of my guilty pleasure movies that I watch every once in a while because it's just so wacky and bad, but it's good at the same time.
I mean, I have to say, you do get some gems of bad video game films. I think the favourite one for me is, see, the Street Fighter film.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that yet. How did you find it?
So bad it's good. That's all I'll say.
So there you go. Same Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, they're both fighting games, and you can only go so far of fighting game storyline for most of them.
I mean, even the Mortal Kombat film, that is...
Oh, yeah.
That is a special film.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's get your friends round, get the popcorn, get the pizza, and then just, rip it apart, because you're not getting out of it without saying, who was that? What was that?
Basically, yeah. You kind of have to know the game to know the story for that kind of movie, I feel.
All I'll say is I am so glad that video game films have come a long way in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've even watched things like Alone in the Dark. That was a tough watch, I'm not going to lie. Because we did it for a review and I was like, oh, how bad can it be? And then I was like, you know what? Not worth it. Just not.
Fair.
Thank God that they have gotten better, because I don't know if you would have, the video game films that you have nowadays, like the Mario film or...
Oh, yeah, I watched the Mario and Sonic movies and they were great. I love them.
Did you go to the cinema to see them out of curiosity?
Yes, I did for both of those. And even like Detective Pikachu, I watched that as well. I was surprised at how much I liked it because I thought, oh, it's live action and they usually tend to be, I was going to say creative, but it's the opposite, uncreative with the storylines. But I ended up being pretty invested in those movies and they were pretty great.
I mean, I have to say, as a 30-something being in the cinema, I went with people. I'm just going to point that out. When I went, you're sitting there and you're looking round, and I didn't go see the Mario film, I have to say, and I didn't see the first Sonic film because I wasn't really sure whether it was going to be any good or not, and I think I caught it on Netflix later on. But see, for the second film, I may or may not have dragged my partner to see it, so we were just surrounded by all these kids like flossing and things like that.
Oh my gosh.
It was worth it though. It was worth it to see the film, but at the same time, it was just like, yeah, I am no longer the demographic for this film.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I don't know if I'll see the third. Well, I mean, I want to see the third one, but are you going to see the third one?
Possibly. I've kind of fallen out of the Sonic circle for quite a while, but I did enjoy the movies. I liked how they had their own take on Sonic. He's like a kid who just wants to be friends and he's hyperactive because he's young, sort of thing, as opposed to, oh yeah, I'm fast, let's go. It was just a fun take, I guess, but it felt like without it sounding bad. It kind of made me think of a 4-kid structure of a cartoon, but a movie, because you have your main character who everyone's come to see, which is Sonic, and then you have his friend he's not the Chris character, but he's a bit better than the Chris character. If you know what I mean, like with Chris Thorndike was a Sonia, I forgot, but it was still appealing for, I feel like it's like a family kind of movie, so you can introduce the next generation of people or fans into it that way. Because one of my friends, she has 3 kids and her eldest loves Sonic. When I come over, she goes, oh, it's Auntie Nova, and they all come running out and they give me a hug and they're all telling me like all this stuff at the same time, and wrote down a schedule when they'll spend time with me, because it's like I go there to see mainly their mom, and it's always nice to hang out with her kids too, but they all want to hang out with me, so like we have this little schedule thing. Goes, I want to play, get to play with Auntie Nova here, and da 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 da. And I remember playing the Sonic games with him, and he was just so fast in terms of not the game itself, but how he was playing. Like he was rapid fire, really good at the game, and I'm just terrible at Sonic games. I'll say it now. I like to take my time in games and think. I'm not really a go person. But my gosh, I kind of lost track where I was going with that. But it's nice how it's kind of appeals to a lot of different people.
I have to admit, it is quite nice how you see a younger generation who are coming up and they are enjoying the same things that we enjoyed growing up.
Yeah, and I feel like with our generation versus new generation, it was a bit different to the boomer generation, where I think a lot of them weren't really into games, but we grew up with it, so we were.
Mm-hmm.
And now that our generation has kids, they get to be closer in terms of sharing what they like growing up, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think is quite nice. I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but that's just an observation I've seen.
No, I totally see what you mean, because there is that overlap of, I suppose, accessibility in terms of gaming. It's definitely a lot easier because, honest to goodness, see, whenever, and this is a rare instance, but on the few occasions that I have played video games with my parents, it's honestly like trying to teach a second language.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
It's like, no, you have to go that way, you have to go this way. And even my brother, he's a couple of years older than me, I mean, he grew up with the NES and the SNES and things like that. And we were going to play that Overcooked game together. I was like, okay, the point in the game is you're supposed to get these plates, cook the dinner, blah, blah, blah. And of course, he was very much in the attitude of, well, why don't I just do that in real life? Ha, 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 ha. And, I'm like, wow, way to suck the fun out of the game.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
He wasn't a Sonic fan. I think that's why.
That's fair.
But before we wrap up, I suppose I should ask first, what is coming up for you in the future for your channel?
Well, I'm currently working on a new outfit for my model later this year.
Ooh.
And I'm also working on a very short lore video for it too. And next year, I'm going to be making, hopefully I have time for it, an all new Hydra model to improve on what I have currently. And I think I'm changing up the theming a bit, see if I could get the design to work, because I'm excited to get back into the swing of things and improve on what I've already done. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of my VTuber model wise. And for content wise, it's mostly going to be games, talking about just general everyday casual chatting and some art and animation streams here and there. Pretty much keep going as I have been, really.
I was going to say I can't wait to watch them, and I genuinely can't wait to see what you put out there, but at the same time, I'm also very wary about the time zones as well. So what I'll say is I will try my best.
Oh, look, there's no obligation for anyone to show up. I appreciate the thought, and as long as it does interfere with your real life stuff and all that kind of thing, and the VOD's going to be up anyway, so either or.
Well, in all seriousness, either way, I can't wait to see what you put out there in the future.
Oh, thank you.
Nova, thank you so much for taking the time to come on tonight to, talk about all things gaming and all things VTubing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again so much for having me. It was a nice surprise, and I look forward to seeing more of your content as well.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, where can these lovely listeners at home find your content?
Well, you can find me on Twitch, where I'm Nova_brush, and on Twitter, it's just NovaBrush. That's where I mainly post at. And I also have a Discord server, but I can give those out as people ask for them, I guess. I don't have a huge wide net of social media. I tend to focus on the two for now.
To be fair, that is a very smart move, because
Yeah,
I feel as if nowadays everyone's on everything and it's like, oh, is it like an even spread? And I'm like, no.
Oh gosh, I have a lot of respect for full-time content creators, because I couldn't keep up with all the different social medias, how the updates on the algorithms and posting videos and posting streams here and there, and it just gets so overwhelming. And I can understand why some people even have teams for this when they do it full-time, because it's just so much to do. So I just manage what I can on my own without it feeling like another job, because I want to be able to just sit down, relax, and hang out with whoever shows up and just make content based on enjoyment, really.
I have to admit, I just put out tweets, and you know that meme where it's like, look, Mom, I hit tweet. Every so often, there's always one where you're like, oh, one tweet took off out of 500. Okay.
Yeah, no, I get that. I really liked the tweet you posted where it's just like when you completed a podcast and then you have to sit down and edit the video, and then you put the Rick and Morty crying video. I thought that was funny.
See, that's the thing, because, well, as you know, by this audio-only podcast, I don't really show my face a lot on social media as a whole. TikTok is very much a very visual place. So I'm like, right, what can I do without showing my face or anything and without wearing a helmet or anything like that? What can I do? And I was like, okay, CapCut exists. There's some green screen content there that I can just pluck from there and just put my logo in the background. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shitpost the living hell out of TikTok. Actually, would you believe that there is one video on my TikTok before they decided to mute it because I think they lost the license rights for the song? But do you remember there was a meme ages ago for The Boys that was going around?
I think so.
Ironically enough, it went by really fast, but the idea was that someone would be going about their day, then someone would race by them super fast and knock someone over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the title, The Boys, would come up. And I did that with a Kung Fu Panda clip. It was completely random. It's like the scene where the main character's eating these dumplings, but his master steals them in midair, and he looks to the camera in one of the shots. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a kind of funny video. I'll just put that in. It's the only video that's had 1 million views.
Wow, that's incredible.
This is the thing, though. You look at these and you think, has any of my other content got that? Yeah, any of my clips from the podcast? Not even close. Not even. Maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 at a push. And I'm like, that's going to be my legacy, essentially. When the archaeologists dig up my page, you're going to see a Kung Fu Panda meme that's muted.
It's so funny because, like, it's funny how, like, the algorithms can catch you off guard sometimes because, like, that's happened to me recently too. Back in December, I just did a short animation loop of Stolas from Hell of a Boss, and for some reason on YouTube, it's got 41,000 views. I'm like, what the hell? It's just a 3-second video.
It's amazing what takes off, though. Again, not to bash other creators, and I know we're wrapping up, but really don't criticise any other content creators, but there's just some really basic content you see, or, you know, just completely random stuff, and you watch it and you're like, all right, that was weird, or I don't quite get this. Like, I think there was a video of a piece of bread falling over, and that got hundreds of millions of views and things, and I'm like, you know what? You see all these gurus and things and content creators who are like, well, you have to study the algorithm hard. You have to analyze it. You have to have a cork board on your wall and everything. You know, like pin all these things together. Partly, I think part of it, yes, absolutely. But I think the other part of it is sometimes it's just random, depending on what takes off and what doesn't. And I'm not saying like don't try hard or anything, but you do get some days where you're like, why is that succeeding? Because this is something I moaned about on Twitter the other day, and I don't know if you saw this. I went on to Instagram and I had an uptick of about 900% of non-followers on my page. And I was like, wow, what is this? Am I like an algorithm guru now? No, they were liking a Starbucks mug I posted.
Yeah, I guess it's because sometimes white people follow trends because they want to kind of hop on that ride. And I think that would make sense for my case, and specifically because when I did the Stolas animation, it was around the time where they teased the Just Look My Way animation, where it's like him singing like a really sad, dramatic song, and the animation's gorgeous. And I think that's the reason why mine picked up along with it, because it was posted around that time by chance. And I find fan-made stuff or any characters or videos that are from franchises tend to do better as opposed to original content, because people like to look for what they like as opposed to actively looking for something new, by comparison at least anyway. And I guess it's just funny how it happens.
It's the luck of the draw sometimes. But yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. It's that sense of familiarity that people see a character and they're like, oh, this is character from so-and-so. And yeah, they find that it's quite nice seeing them in whatever video or audio content or whatever they're in. So yeah, one day. I just have to learn how to draw first.
You'll get there, I know it.
Legend of the stick figures, you know, coming soon to an audio-only base platform. I'm sure nothing can go wrong with that.
Oh, you never know.
I could be a trendsetter. Who knows? But on that note, thank you, Nova, once again for coming on.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you again for having me. It's been really fun.
And if you want to check out more content from ourselves, as well as more interviews, then you can check us out at our website, chatsunami.com. I also want to thank our amazing Pandalorian patrons, Robotic Battle Toaster and Sonia. Thank you once again for supporting the show. But if you also want some exclusive content, then of course you can head over to Patreon, patreon.com/chatsunami for some early access episodes, as well as exclusive episodes, even some Twitch VODs, throwing a line out there, some Let's Play content. So yeah, go over there and feel free to check it out. But until next time, thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated. Welcome to Satsunami, a variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interests.
Previously on Chatsunami, we've analysed what makes a good horror game, conducted a retrospective on Pierce Brosnan's run as James Bond, and listened to us take deep dives into both the Sonic and Halo franchises.
Also, if you're an anime fan, then don't forget to check us out on our sub-series, Chatsunani, where we dive into the world of anime. So far, we've reviewed things like Death Note, Princess Mononoke, and the hit Beyblade series.
If that's sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and all good podcast apps.
As always, stay safe,
Stay awesome, and most importantly,
stay hydrated.